In the year 2247, Earth had become more than just a blue dot on the edge of the Milky Way. Humanity's ships stretched across trade routes once reserved for older, stronger civilizations. Earth had risen from obscurity to influence, not because it was the richest, not because it was the strongest, but because it was necessary. Its people were resourceful, its colonies fertile, and its trade routes formed the beating heart of dozens of interstellar economies. But prosperity came with a shadow. Across the galaxy, a storm was brewing. A storm not of politics, but of chains. The Kaelari, an ancient species enslaved for over 5 centuries, had begun to rise. Their chains clattered like thunder across the stars, their rebellion sparking in forgotten mines, on factory worlds, and within the halls of the very masters who had enslaved them. The Galactic Council, an alliance of 12 powerful species, had grown fat and complacent on Kaelari labor. The slaves mined their ores, built their ships, cleaned their halls. Entire economies rested upon Kaelari backs. Now, that foundation cracked. And Earth, still a relative newcomer to galactic politics, found itself standing on the fault line. Ambassador Elena Ward sat in silence as the ultimatum was read aloud. Earth must declare its loyalty. You are either with the Galactic Council or you are against it. There will be no neutrality. Aid to the slaves will cease. Those who harbor fugitives will be punished. Failure to comply will mean the severing of treaties, the closure of trade routes, and consequences far more severe. The message ended. Silence fell. Earth's allies, the very species who had once courted them with trade and alliances, now demanded fealty. But the truth was already known. Non-governmental human organizations, hidden charities, and secret networks had been funneling aid to the Kaelari for years. Shelter, medicine, even weapons. Many of these groups were branded criminals by the Council, but on Earth, they were seen as heroes. And now the galaxy demanded Earth betray them. Sarek, leader of the Kaelari rebellion, stood before his people. His tall, ridged frame bore the scars of whips and chains. His voice carried both pain and fire. 500 years in the dark, our children born to chains, our elders dying nameless in the mines. The Council told us we were lesser, that our suffering was natural order. But Earth heard us. They fed our wounded. They carried our voices. They gave us hope. His words lit the Kaelari like sparks to kindling. But hope was fragile. For if Earth bowed to the Council's ultimatum, that hope would die forever. Arguments raged. Some feared economic ruin. Others feared open war. But Elena's voice cut through. If we betray the Kaelari now, then what do we stand for? Today it is them in chains. Tomorrow it will be us. The Council has shown us their truth. They do not see partners. They see tools. And tools can be discarded. If Earth kneels now, we sign our own slavery. Her words weighed heavy, because deep down everyone knew she was right. The Kaelari were not the first species the Council had enslaved, only the most enduring. And should Earth resist too long, it might share their fate. The leaders of the Council, draped in silks, adorned in precious metals, feasted while their slaves poured their wine and carried their burdens. One figure stood apart. Venar, a counselor from the reptilian Dayari species, rose to speak. His voice was steady, firm. We cannot continue this. The Kaelari's rebellion is not madness, it is justice delayed. And if Earth sides with them, the galaxy will see what we are. Parasites, feeding on chains. Let us speak of truce. Let us speak of ending slavery before it consumes us all. But his voice was drowned in laughter. The other counselors sneered, mocking him. You sound like a human. Perhaps you wish to join the slaves in their mines, Venar. His warnings were ignored, his pleas cast aside. The Council had chosen pride, and Earth would have to choose its soul. The ultimatum's deadline drew near. Fleets began to shift in the void. Trade routes tightened like nooses. Ambassador Elena Ward stood before Earth's united council, her reflection caught in the vast window overlooking the blue planet below. The choice before us is simple: obedience or defiance, chains or freedom. Not just for the Kaelari, but for us all. History will remember what we decide today. Will we be the world that bowed to tyranny, or the world that stood and broke the last chain? The chamber fell silent. The vote began. And with it, the first sparks of a war that would set the galaxy ablaze. The galaxy held its breath. When Earth's counselors voted, the decision was clear. Humanity would not kneel. The message was sent to the Galactic Council with words that echoed across star systems. We will not abandon the oppressed. Earth will stand with the Kaelari. Freedom is not negotiable. The declaration was met with silence, then fury. The Galactic Council severed trade within hours. Merchant convoys vanished. Allied worlds turned their backs. And within days, the first fleets began to move. Vast, ancient armadas, their hulls blackened with centuries of war, now aimed at Earth. For the first time in centuries, humanity stood alone. Even as fleets gathered, the Kaelari rebellion grew. Slaves risked their lives to pass messages from one mind to another, whispering Earth's choice like a sacred prayer. Earth stands with us. They chose us. They will fight for our freedom. For the Kaelari, hope was no longer fragile. It was fire. But fire invited storms. Captain Elena Ward stood with Earth's admirals and strategists. Around them, holographic maps displayed the vast expanse of Council fleets compared to Earth's small defense lines. Admiral Cho spoke grimly. They outnumber us 20-1. Their ships are heavier, faster, and battle-tested. If this becomes a war of attrition, Earth will fall. Elena's jaw tightened. Then we won't fight their war. We fight our way. We use their arrogance against them. They expect us to bow. They will not expect us to bleed them. She pointed to weak points in trade routes, fuel depots, supply lines. Humanity couldn't match the Council ship for ship, but they could outthink them. While Earth prepared, Sarek, leader of the Kaelari rebellion, walked through the ruins of his people's old cities. His memories returned to the day his home world fell. 500 years ago, the skies burned with Council ships. The Kaelari, proud builders and scholars, were no match for the Council's fleets. Their cities were leveled, their leaders executed, their children marched into cages. Sarek remembered being a child hiding under rubble as soldiers dragged his parents away. He remembered the sound of chains, the first time he felt metal bite into his wrists. For centuries, the Kaelari had been forced to forget who they were. Their songs, their language, their history beaten out of them. Now, with Earth's defiance, Sarek swore to his people, "We will never be slaves again." Meanwhile, in the opulent chambers of the Galactic Council, the leaders reveled in their dominance. Slaves poured wine into crystalline goblets. Others knelt holding trays, their bodies trembling under the weight. One counselor, his jeweled fingers dripping with decadence, sneered as he kicked a Kaelari slave to the floor. "This rebellion is a spark. We will drown it in their blood, and Earth will learn their place at our feet." Only one voice rose in dissent. Denar, the counselor who had once pleaded for truce, stood again. "You do not see what you are creating. Every act of cruelty feeds their fire. Earth is not alone. They have awakened something in the galaxy that you cannot chain." Again he was mocked, again ignored. But Venar's eyes held sorrow. He knew the storm was coming, and the Council was blind. The war began at the edge of the Tralith Belt. Council fleets swept in with overwhelming numbers, expecting a swift victory, but Earth's ships fought like wolves. Small, agile, striking hard at supply ships and retreating into asteroid fields. Where Council ships lumbered like giants, Earth ships danced like shadows. The Council commanders, enraged, unleashed firestorms that scorched planets and moons, but the more they raged, the more humanity adapted. In one battle, Earth destroyed 3 Council warships with a single ambush, detonating their own fuel tankers in a sacrificial strike. The galaxy gasped. Earth would not go quietly. But victory came at a cost. In the Battle of Eridon Prime, Elena's brother Marcus Ward led a small squadron to delay a Council advance. Outnumbered, he fought until his fleet was ash and silence.